Folks, welcome back to another review with yours truly, Sam Healey. Today we're taking a look at this guy right here, Ogre Objective 218. This is basically a re-implementation of the Battle for Hill 218 way back when, which is a World War II two-player card game. This is basically the same game, but it has been reskinned for the Ogre universe, where the Combine faction is battling against the Pan-European faction. And I don't know, I think it's pretty cool. I never could really wrap my head around it. I didn't give it its due course, I guess, due process maybe. Way back in the day with Battle for Hill 218, there were just other games I was much more interested in back then. Now I'm able to take a look at it. Let's get down to the table and I'll show you. Now at the beginning of the game, each player gets a hand of 5 cards from their deck, and then they can choose 2 of those cards to go underneath their deck to be used later on. So these 2 missile tanks we're going to go ahead and put underneath the deck, and now I'm able to start the game with this hand. The first player, we'll just say that the Pan-Euro player is the first one here, draws 1 card and then can play 1 card from their hand. It's an advantage to go first, so that's a little bit of a balancing factor there. So I've drawn my 1 card, I played my 1 card, now it's my opponent's turn. My opponent takes their hand and draws 2, and from now on we'll actually do that every single turn. We'll draw 2 and play 2 cards. Now, so we'll go ahead and play an infantry unit here in my command post, and then the next one we'll put a howitzer right here, and the howitzer has a power attack. The X shows where he is on the virtual grid, and then he can attack up to 1, 2, 3 spaces away. So 1, 2, 3, that knocks out this infantry unit, and that's the end of my turn. Now it's back to the Pan-Euro side. The Pan-Euros take their card, draw 2 and add to it. So now we have one of our Ogre Mark IIIs. Now, in order to deploy an Ogre Mark III, he will count as both of your deployment cards for that turn. So if you choose to play this card, it's the only one that you can play that turn. So keep that in mind. Instead, though, I think what we're going to do is, well, yeah, we kind of need to get our guy out there, but we have to get our supply train going first. So what we're going to do is we're going to play our GEV to the command post, which means that our supplies are going to be these squares here instead of orthogonally, the diagonal squares. And then our second one is going to be a missile tank, and we'll place him right there. Back on my opponent's side of the table, he draws 2 cards, and we're going to play 2 as well. Heavy tank right here, which will, with the power attack, take out this missile tank. Here it's good to note that only a card that has just been deployed can attack. Cards that have been deployed previously are not able to attack, but they are still able to use their targeting ability. And then we'll also play, I'm going to play another infantry right here for my second card. On the Pan-Euro side of the table, we draw 2 cards and add them to our deck. We're going to play this guy as our main attack this time, though, and he can be played right here, and he is in with supply. So he's the only card that we can play this turn. Because he's an ogre, he does get to attack twice, and he's right in the middle of everything, so this infantry unit and this infantry unit are toast. So that's 2 attacks from the Pan-Euros, and that's it for that turn. There are these little guys that are in each deck. The light GEVs have this lightning bolt in their in the side of their thing here. That means that they can do lightning strikes. What that lightning bolt means is that when he is played onto the board, he can be played in any unoccupied space in this virtual grid, and he doesn't have to have a supply chain that follows him, and he can use that special ability of attacking For example, he could be played right here. He doesn't have a supply chain, but he can use the targeting ability of the Ogre over here to destroy this howitzer because he has a combined attack right there, and the Ogre has that space targeted as well. So the light GEVs can use their lightning attack to really attack where your opponent may not be expecting you to be able to. So keep that in mind throughout the course of the game. When an Ogre is damaged for any reason, the damaged Ogre card is placed over top of it, which changes its profile here drastically. He is not able to supply all around him just orthogonally like an infantry unit. He cannot do a power attack. He cannot attack at all, actually. He's only good for targeting purposes. So getting your Ogre damaged is pretty hefty. You do have 2 Ogres in the deck, and they can take 2 hits. So they are the tanks that they were meant to be, but just keep that in mind. You want to kind of protect your Ogres as much as possible. They are pretty hefty in winning the game. And that's pretty much how gameplay goes until, as I said before, both players' decks and hands are completely exhausted. Then we count the number of units that each side has on the board. Whoever has the most wins. Or if one player is able to occupy their opponent's command post at any point in the game immediately ends, and that person is declared the winner. And that's pretty simple. Pretty simply how you play Objective 218 in the Ogre universe. Now, I like my 2-player card games to be mid-weight at most. I don't like heavy 2-player games of really any kind. I mean, I guess if you look at like Rebellion or something like that, yeah, sure, those are heavy games, but I'm talking about those card games that you can just have a very small footprint. I don't like a lot of brain-burning action in my games that are that size. And so Ogre, Objective 218, really kind of hits that in full stride. I felt I had myself thinking about Hiroshima Convoy, and that's the kind of weight that this game is. Now, I would say that there's a little bit more depth to Hiroshima Convoy, but as far as the 2-player back and forth action is concerned, of playing cards on the board, battling over certain areas and that type of thing, this really hits that same kind of vein, but in a little bit of a lighter way. I like how some of the effects of the cards are, for example, those light GEVs can really strike lightning quick, fast actions and really get in there and destroy some stuff and set up for other actions and other turns. I really did enjoy that. The Ogres, when they hit the table, are they really feel like the strong behemoths that they are. And so I really did enjoy a lot about this game. It's a very quick back and forth hand management game, really, with some area control mechanisms on the virtual grid that's on the table. I really did enjoy it. My wife enjoyed it as well. It's one of those games that she was able to sink her teeth into. So there is that. That has some merit as well. So as far as Ogre Objective 218 is concerned, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 1.5 thumbs up because it is that kind of game that I can just sit down and very lightheartedly, very easily, very casually play with my wife, and she will also enjoy it as well. As far as 2-player games concerned, I really want a sweet spot of a little bit more meat, a little bit more complexity there, but this is a very fun, casual 20-30 minute game, and I really did enjoy it. So that is Ogre Objective 218. See you on the flip side, folks.